Last night, oil hit $115 a barrel in the Asia markets. So the day before yesterday, Russia announced that they had reached their maximum oil production, and they probably could not increase above that. For the sake of discussion, I would like to make a counter-argument that drilling that drilling in our public lands and in Anwar and offshore is pretty much the equivalent of giving more cocaine to the addict. If all you're doing is feeding the habit, that's exactly the wrong thing to do. The two big agencies in our world that track the production and consumption, which are the same, nobody's storing big amounts of oil, are the IEA and the EIA, the International Energy Association and the Energy Information Administration, the latter a part of our Department of Energy. Both of those entities indicate that for about the last 3 years, production of oil worldwide has been flat. During those same 3 years, demand has been going up, and what happens when demand is up and supply is inadequate? Prices have gone from $50 couple a barrel to $115 a barrel. It is very probable that the world has reached its maximum capacity for producing oil, that we are now producing as much oil per day as we will ever produce. That happened in the United States in 1970. And in spite of drilling more oil wells than all the rest of the world put together, in spite of having the best technology in the world for finding oil and for enhanced oil recovery, we still today are producing less than half the oil that we produced in 1970. We're importing about 2/3 of our oil. If we're drilling in these areas to help us break the habit, then I'm supportive of that. But I have 10 kids and 16 grandkids and 2 great-grandkids. And if we could pump Anwar and our public lands and offshore tomorrow, what would we do the day after tomorrow? And there will be a day after tomorrow. Don't we really need to be focusing alternatives? And wouldn't it be nice to save a little oil for our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids, since we're leaving this horrendous debt, not with my vote if you look at the votes, but we're leaving them a horrendous debt. Wouldn't it be nice to leave them a little oil? And shouldn't we really be focusing on alternatives and how to live a lifestyle? We are 1 person in 22 in the world. We use 1/4 of the world's oil. There are countries in the world that use 1/4 as much energy as we do, who live as long as we do, who educate their people as well as we do. We don't need to use as much energy as we use to live the golden life, do we? And wouldn't it be, shouldn't the top priority being, if we're going to drill in these areas, sir, and I will vote to drill in those areas when I am assured that all the energy we get there is going to be used for developing alternatives, because we have now blown 28 years. We knew darn well we were going to be here today, or about this time, with oil at over $100 a barrel, because M. King Hubbard was right about the United States. We peaked in 1970. By 1980, we knew darn well that he was right. He predicted the world would be peaking about now. Where has our sanity been, sir, for the last 28 years, that no responsible country in the world has taken the correct path, that is to develop alternatives, so that when we run down the other side of what Hyman Rickover called this golden age, that we would still have a high quality of life?
Congressman, I agree with you that the solution to our problems is not oil and gas. However, if you look at the Energy Information Administration forecasts, they indicate that by 2030, you may only have 6 to 10% of the U.S. energy, total energy, not oil and gas, supplied by what we refer to as renewables. We are aggressively pushing renewable energy. In fact, you will see offshore an announcement today of a number of areas that are being opened up for offshore renewable energy development. And that is important. But I think in any forecast that I can see or any scenario that I can see, if you want to maintain something similar to the economy that we have, and particularly with regard to small businesses, oil and gas, and particularly gas, and I have a bigger concern about natural gas than I do oil, and the prices is what's happening there. But if we want to continue the kind of economy that we have, it's going to take oil and gas as part of that formula. It's interesting to note that, and there are some huge proposals for renewable energy. They are less acceptable when we go out there and try to process applications than oil and gas is, because oil and gas is usually a fairly transient impact. You may only see, for example, a drilling rig for a few months or a year, and then all that's left is a wellhead generally. When you put, and I'm a big fan of and I'm pushing renewable energies, but when you put a wind machine up there, it's obvious for a long time. When you cover the surface of the desert with a solar facility, it's there a long time, and there are not other alternative uses when you do that.